thing I forgot to mention is embrace that you're going to get your hands covered in grease. It's really not that big a deal. It helps if you clean your bike before you leave your race, which I did, but there's always going to be, you know, a little bit of grime or whatever. Some people put on some, you know, those cheap surgical gloves. I just use my hands, and so I'll get a little bit of grease on them, and I'll just stop what I'm doing, go to the sink, wash my hands, get the grease off, and then I continue with my bike. So there's no hard and fast rules for doing this. You're not in a race. Nobody can see you assembling your bike at home. So just take your time and have fun with it. It's actually a cool thing once you get it done. You can see I've decided to do the rear one first. And there, you know, I'm putting my training wheel on because now it's winter and I'm going to be not using my race wheels anymore. So this is what, you know, this is where I stop. I'll just lean the bike up and then wash my hands and then continue on. Okay, so the front wheel took some faffing around to do because this headset is still loose and it's not on the stem there. But I wanted to get the wheel on, and it's not on perfectly right now, but I'm not really worried about that. I'm just concerned with getting the wheels on so I can do the rest of the bike. I've just leaned my bike up. See there, it doesn't have the seat post, it doesn't have the pedals on. The headset's hanging down loose, but it's just leaning up against this little piece of furniture here. So then I'm going to do the most difficult thing first, and the easy things will be my reward for doing them. So this is what I'm going to tackle next, is the stem. So even when I took this off, there was 3 of these things to unscrew. This was the first one, and then there's 2 right here. So when you are loosening these, and also when I'm going to be tightening them, so when I loosen them, I just loosen one a little bit and the other a little bit at a time. And also when I go to put it back on, I'm going to tighten it up a little bit at a time, even Steven the whole way through. For me, the spacers that are here, it's easy for me to remember where to put them because I just take them all off. My headset slides right down to the bottom and all these spacers sit on top. If you have a different position than that, obviously you're going to want to mark it in some way, take maybe a picture of it and bring it with you, tape it, whatever you can do so if you do this, you're like, oh crap. Okay, so I'm just using my little tool to show you to take it off. The little things are out and I've just set them down. And now I'm going to lift this thing and slide it on this thing. Okay, this has taken me a bit of faffing around, and you have to watch these cables. It just took me about 10 seconds to figure out that this was on this side, which way it was causing me grief, trying to lift this up and get it on there. So even figuring that out, it was like a little bit of a hassle, but this is the only part that's sort of tricky. Now, I was taught, some people undo this thing when they pack their bike. Now, I was told, in the case of Cervelos, that by loosening this up, this coating can wear off over time if you do this enough times. And then it won't, when you go to tighten it back up, there's no traction anymore. And then it's like slipping all the time. So I was taught that if you're going to pack this in a bike box, leave this alone, leave that stuff alone, and just concentrate on doing this. So the next step is I'm going to slide this all the way down to here. As I was pushing this down here, this ring was like lifted up a little bit, so there was a gap. And so all I did was started, you know, turning it around, and then I pushed this down more, and then it gets all sorted out. So you want to make sure that it's flush, everything is flush against each other. Next thing that you're going to do is you get your spacers. Obviously, if you have spacers underneath here, that's your position, then you're going to want to put those spacers on underneath before you start putting this thing on. So mine's easy, you just put it to the top. And I'm going to put this little top part on. This is what my bike guru told me to do. You tighten this up, and he had me feel it, so anyway, so you tighten it up, and you're not adjusting this, like this can be off center, see? That's those two little things on the side. That will be centering this. So really, you're not really concerned about that now. You're going to turn this back and forth. You're not going to look at the wheel. You're going to feel it. So you're feeling if there's any tension, and you'll feel it sort of in here. That's where I feel it anyway. So what you can do is go ahead and tighten this up. Don't tighten it up so your eyes pop out, but just tighten it up good and strong. Now you've tightened it up pretty strong. You're gonna feel this, and you feel like something almost grinding. That's the way I would explain it. It feels, you can feel the tension. As opposed, you wouldn't notice this unless you do it looser now. So you're gonna teach yourself how to do this. So now you're gonna loosen it off and then do it again. Off about a half a turn with that little tool. Go like this. And it feels like it's okay. For me, I think that's good. Actually, there is something that sort of bothers me about it, is that on that little stem, there isn't markings saying how much you should tighten it. So I wish there was, because then you could be accurate and spot on, but oh well.